Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Dose, where we talk about everything wellness, health, love, faith, all of the above. And I am very excited to welcome my guest today, Shi Choong. I met Shi through Women to Women, a networking group here in the Portland metro area, and ended up hiring her to help me out with some photo shoot stuff that we did here at the Yurt. And I have gotten to know her story since then, and I am just so amazed by your story, Shi. And I
Thank
knew
you.
I wanted to have you on the podcast. And I thought February is the perfect month because this month we're talking all about love and relationships. And I firmly believe that the most important relationship we have in our life is the one with ourselves and with God. But, definitely, I think you can't kind of bring yourself into a relationship before you're fully in love with yourself. It starts with us first. And I just thought you had such an incredible story of gosh, coming to self-love, uh finding your purpose, pivoting out of a career that you had built and worked hard for, to do what you love. And so I'm really excited to have you on and share your story today. So do you want to maybe just start with introducing yourself, give a little background about your story? And I know you grew up in Malaysia, you moved to the US when you went to college, didn't even speak English when you came here,
Nope.
which is like incredible. How did where did you find the courage to enroll in college in America when you didn't speak English? Like, I want to know it all. So I'll stop there and let you talk now.
Okay. Hi all. My name is Shi Choong. I am an immigrant. I was born and raised in Malaysia, and when I was yeah, and I came to the States when let me backtrack a little bit. When I grew up in Malaysia, when I was 15, my parents left. They just decided to abandon us one day, leaving me with three younger siblings. It was very I think at that point I was the oldest, so I have to just immediately switch to become an adult overnight. And my youngest sister was 8 year old, so I still went to school, and I was still a top student actually, and I worked two jobs, and then you have to come home and do the parenting things like that.
Wow.
Um, it was hard. I think the hardest part was when I realized when I was out working, my two brothers at that time was 10 and 12. They were like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with the wrong people. We live in kind of near like a downtown of the area. And
Mm-hmm.
then my younger sister started to tell lies about doing homework and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I have to make a hard decision. So I started to call my relatives. They all picked them up one by one. So we got
Mm.
separated after about a year. Around that,
Wow.
yeah. So I didn't know my siblings well because we got
Mm.
separated. And a year later, my mom came back. It was hard because she blamed me for everything.
Mm.
Yeah. And then for some reason, I there was a lot of things going on in between. Fast forward, she told a lie to cover up what happened.
Mm.
And the way out was me coming to the States because that is
Wow.
the promotion, like from Asia to America is like a upgrade.
Right, right.
So she told everybody anyway, I came to the States. From she told a lie to me coming here, it was within 1 month. So again, it was very disruptive. I just like, okay, I'm coming to the States. I was not prepared. I didn't know anyone here, had no money, couldn't
Wow.
speak the language. But that's how I came to the States.
Wow.
Um, yeah, but I think it was good. It was a good opportunity because um, I I get to States, I have the opportunity to find myself, find my path.
Mhm.
It took a
Mhm.
while. It took a while where she, yeah,
I mean, I just want to pause there for a second. Like, that is a lot, right? So, I mean, no, seriously, I don't want to make light of it. Like that's devastating too. You were 15, you said, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I mean, you don't even have time to like even process your feelings that you're having, I'm sure, around that because you had to jump in and become a parent overnight and you're only 15 and you're
Correct.
just trying to keep the lights on and keep everybody functioning. So I'm curious, like by the time you got to the US, and then that's, any kind of transcontinental move or, move overseas. I myself have done that and I chose to do it, but it was still very difficult. I can only imagine doing that, at a young age without never have been here before. You don't speak the language. College is already a big transition for people anyway, right?
Mm.
How did you find like the courage and the strength to like keep going? Did you struggle
I
emotionally during those years?
No, I think because I had no time to struggle.
Right.
I have no money, so I have to immediately look for jobs and immediately figure out my next step because of course, I chose the most expensive place to live, the Bay Area.
You did. I
Yeah,
think
in
outside of New York.
Cupertino. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just have to figure it out immediately. So I have no time to really ex- face my emotion. It's like a
Mm,
survival mode. I have
mm.
to keep going, and yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's what happens with a lot of people.
Hmm.
We get into this survival mode and we just kind of ignore and push down and compartmentalize the
Yeah.
feelings, but they don't go away. So, um, yeah, I'm curious. So, okay, so you're in college, you're working 4 jobs, you're excelling in school, and
Yeah.
then you get into a PhD program. Is that right?
Yes.
And then there was some stuff that happened during those years as well, right? That kind
Yeah.
of threw your plan off kilter.
Correct. Yes. So, in well, I want to mention a little bit in the college part was
Mhm.
it was I think at one point I realized I am it's a part of self-discovery. When I
Mhm.
came to the state, at one point I actually chose not to study chemistry. I have always been a scientist.
Okay.
And then I was like, let me figure out. I watch a Korean drama, and then that Korean drama is about this very beautiful, adorable TV news anchor. I was like, I like her. I want to be her. And to get there, I'm gonna go study communication.
Oh, wow.
And then I realized I could not compete with the Native Americans, well, the
Mm.
locals, because my English was just, I don't know what I was thinking. I couldn't speak English, but somehow I want to study communication. Um, in fact, I actually aced in public speaking class, but a
Wow.
lot of local communication information, like for example, one journalism class, the instructor asked us to write about Super Bowl, the
Mhm.
halftime. They talk about halftime. Everybody got excited
And
about
you're
talking
like,
about it. Yeah,
"What's
I
the
literally
Super
raised
Bowl?"
my hand. I was like, "What is halftime and what is Super Bowl?" So I think
Yeah.
the class went silent. Yeah, that was kind of like, okay, I realized I just couldn't do that because it just required a lot of the cultural knowledge that I did not
Mhm.
have. So I switched back to chemistry because it was the easiest path. Believe or not, chemistry and calculus was very easy for me.
Well, bless you.
I know, I'm very thankful because that is how I make money. I tutor also when I'm
Mm.
between classes, I'm
Mhm.
thankful I'm good at classes that not a lot of people was good at and at
Yeah.
high demand. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I transferred to San Francisco State. I was at the Anza College and I went to San Francisco State. The very first month, I got sexually assaulted by my roommate, my housemate.
Oh my god.
So it was my home, or well, I'll call it home, is no longer safe. It was really difficult. But I'm
Oh, wow.
thankful. Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was blaming myself. I was in shock. I was like, at first, I didn't even realize what happened. It did not register until a while, and I called my good friend, the one that I met at my very first job. We still keep contact, still in good relationship. I was like, Jen, I this is what happened. She
Mhm.
drove an hour from San Jose to San
Mhm.
Francisco in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 a.m. Picked me
Wow.
up, drove me back home to her place, and let me stay. And it was that very beginning it happened. And the
Mm,
thing is, I just have to keep going. I already paid the tuition fee. I have to keep going because as
mm,
an international student, if I miss school,
mm,
I got deported. I cannot stay in
mm.
school. There's just a lot of risk. And I was like, I've come so far. I just have to keep going. Yeah. And
God,
then,
God, God was preparing you for resilience. I mean, my gosh, you've been through. No, I mean, you've been through more in your first probably 20 years than most of us have in a lifetime. No, seriously, I'm.
yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Take your
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, I didn't know that. That was not something I knew about your story. So thank you
yeah.
for sharing. That
You're
was yeah,
welcome.
yeah.
Uh, mm,
Wow. Okay. So then, I mean, thank goodness for good friends and community too,
yes,
right?
yes. Hmm.
So how did you? I mean, so you ended up graduating. You ended up getting your PhD, right?
Yeah, that was is in college. I graduated as a department honorary for chemistry and biochemistry, actually. And I did really well, and I went to work at Genentech and then moved on to PhD at Purdue. And
Yeah.
then the Purdue itself is even though my life has been really difficult, Purdue PhD, my journey at PhD was the
Mm.
hardest,
Wow.
hands down, in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you find the strength in those years to like keep going? Because it's easy to say like I just had to keep going, otherwise, I could lose my student visa, I could get deported,
Mhm.
and while, we all understand that, it's still like, you had a lot of things kind of happen in your life in those first, 20 years. How did you find the strength to kind of get up every day and kind of and keep moving forward?
Like you mentioned, it's a self compartmentalize of everything. It also it's a mix of that and also at that point at PhD, a lot of things has already happened. Like a lot of yeah, my mother gave me an ultimatum whether I either to continue my education
Mm.
or she disown me. So I chose
Wow.
education, and then also during my PhD time, my professor wouldn't let me graduate because I was no, I have two professor. One professor did not let me work on any public project that I could publish. So I couldn't
Mm.
have any publication paper to graduate. And then my second professor, I was too productive. So she wouldn't let me go. And then during that time, with my mom, everything happened. I got into depression.
Mm.
I was on Prozac. But the reason that kept me going was I cannot lose. Everything is on the table right now. I have nothing to fall back to. I don't have a
Mm.
family to support me,
Mm.
catch me if I cannot say, "Mom, can I come
Mm.
home? Can you cook for me?" No, I have to keep going because it almost felt like in the whole wide world, I was the only one. I have to
Mm.
keep going. And also I realized I'm choosing my path. Yes, I
Mm.
could take the easier path. I can go back to Malaysia. There's a lot of benefit to be the own citizen of my home country, right? It's a
Mm.
lot cheaper, but that's not the life I want. I'm
Mm.
creating a life I wanted, so it's going to be hard.
Mm.
It's a path like creating a new path. Think about a jungle. You have to create a path. It's
Yeah.
a lot of work, right? And you have to pull the grass, make a path to it's walkable. But I know it is something will bring me to a better life. Right
Yeah.
now, I was young, I could do it. I want to do it because it will only lead to a better path. So that is the part that I felt very self-love in a way or self-driven because I don't want to take the easier path because it's
Mm.
easier but it's not good for me. Whereas first really hard, just keep going. And at that moment, I was at a junction, right? It's a make or break.
Yeah.
If I don't make it, I go back to my old life, which I did not want. If I make it, I can have a completely I can have a six-figure job at that time. I was already got accepted 10 months before my graduation. I was already accepted by Intel. They already gave me the
Mm.
job offer. I was like, I'm gonna be in the top semiconductor company. I will make six figure. I will be a Dr. Chung. That kept me going. And I think it's also it's just belief. I
Yeah,
just
belief
believe
in
I can do
yourself.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Thank you.
That's amazing that, you had the resolve to know that you could do that. And I think all the things that you had been through previously from 15 on prepared you for that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every time you overcome something and even when it's a hard, even when it's a struggle, um, you know, we that builds confidence, that builds, resilience in us, and then you start to really believe, okay, I can do this, I can do hard things. But yeah, you had some real hard things, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. that
Thanks.
was that was a lot.
I think you
Okay.
mentioned one thing also,
Yeah.
is a gratitude. I'm very,
Mhm.
very thankful. My life was extremely difficult, very
Mm.
challenging compared to a lot of people, but they shaped me to who I am today. I'm very thankful my parents left me and I get the
Mm.
opportunity to be independent. I'm very thankful my mom told a lie to make me come to the States,
Mm.
right? Because otherwise I
Yeah.
wouldn't have found this new me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that, because I think we a lot of times, when we're in the midst of a real struggle with ourselves
Hmm.
or in our lives, it's very hard to see through that and to find gratitude. But I always encourage my clients, like, if you can find gratitude and if you can find forgiveness and acceptance of your circumstances, whether you like them or not, you don't have to like them, but you still have to, we still have to accept reality,
Yes.
in order to move through the emotions and find our way to gratitude. And in hindsight, it's very clear how our struggles helped shape us and brought us to where we are. But when you're in the middle of them, that can be really difficult to find. So I think that's amazing that you had the resolve to do that for yourself.
Thank you.
Um, so okay, so fast forward, you're now working at Intel. You have your quote dream job and your big six-figure salary and the title and all the things.
Mm.
Um, what happened then?
Yeah, I think is I was not happy,
Hmm.
but I do want to give credit to Intel because it really helps me find myself, give me that
Mm,
inner strength, and um, I am very grateful to my one of my managers in my second position. Surprisingly, he's a Caucasian male. We hear a lot of Caucasian male not very supportive of woman empowerment.
mhm,
He is from my perspective, he has been the best leader I have ever
mm,
met because he
nice.
promotes me. And I was very stressed out because I have always been the only woman or only the 10% of the woman in the group. So pretty much a lone wolf.
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning he didn't know how to respond to my emotion because yeah. And I was like, Mike, I have to leave. I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore because I was working 130 hours a week and then 100 hours a week. No, I was at a point yeah, it was hard. And then he sat down with me. We sometimes have my multiple 1 hour one-on-one within a week.
Mhm,
And it was like, how can I make your job into a career? How
mm,
can I help? Then I told him like what I wanted, what makes me happy, like so he helped me. He'll go out of his way behind my scene and it's like this she did this. She's doing this. He was
mm.
really, really helping me and he's very openly supportive of me. And I think
That's
that gave me
awesome.
strength and courage to really keep going and believe in me to the point that at Intel I created my job description. I knew what
Mm.
I was good at. And he told me like
I'm not
nobody.
surprised. I'm not.
Thank you. Yeah, he told me out of his 25 years working at Intel, I have been the only person that could do that. And I gave him different perspective but I think that is because he gave me that strength, that belief, that
Mhm,
confidence that even though I have some idea that's completely different from everybody else out
mhm,
of the entire Intel, he believes in me and gave me that strength to fight for it. So I fought for it, and then I created a system that improved the work life of 350 engineers and managers.
Wow.
Something they did not think they need, now they cannot live without.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Yeah,
a what a great legacy you left there. That's
I,
awesome.
I did. I left
Yeah.
really in a very good term with the company. The thing is also, this is where I realized, yes, I'm doing high impact work for everybody, but I was not happy because
Mhm.
I was giving, but I just forgot to slow down to think what I truly want, what truly makes me
Mhm.
happy. And so I started doing wedding planning as a side project to kind of see what's out there. It's also is a way to help me find love because
Mm.
I did not grow up in a loving environment. I want to see how people in love or the family of the
Mm.
couples, how they interact. I did not know. It's a new world to me. And as
Wow.
an Intel engineer, it's very silent. We just look at data, look at
Yeah.
chart. We right. It's all data point for us. Um, but that wedding, as a wedding planner, it really gives me perspective. And I also
Mm.
chose my couples because I know my value. I'm not gonna just choose anybody I did not resonate with. So
Right.
I chose a couple typically professionals that are just too busy with their life and with multicultural celebration because that is how I resonate with. I believe
Mhm.
in it. And then from the many weddings I've done, I just learn how they interact, how they communicate, and also because of that, I how they show appreciation to me.
Mm.
I would say 80% of my couples write thank you, handwrite thank you cards for
Wow.
me. Yeah,
That's
it's
that's
just
a
very,
testament to how no, that's a testament to the, quality you deliver and how you
yeah,
help them bring to life their vision for that beautiful day. And
yeah,
weddings, I mean, planning weddings can be stressful. We've all seen the bridezillas on the reality TVs and things like that. So
yeah.
I can imagine, I can really imagine how watching how a couple navigates that process together and
Hmm.
with you and then the family that I mean you were still collecting data points. They were just different data points, right?
Yes, yes.
But yeah, I think that's really beautiful that, you know, through your love of event planning, you also found a
Yeah.
path to defining what love means for you and how that
Hmm.
looks for you. So have you, I mean, through that path, um, have you really found self-love? I mean, it feels like, gosh, if you're not able and capable, I don't know who is, but have you been able to find forgiveness and acceptance of, what happened with your parents and your siblings and forgiveness of, yourself for, we all have to find forgiveness for ourselves where we
Mm,
feel like we've made mistakes or let ourselves down.
mm.
But I'm curious about like how was that path to finding self-love for yourself through your event planning?
Yeah, I think it's a multiple yes. It helped me get better at self-love. It is still a work in progress.
Always is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It helps me realize, I think, what I was good at. A lot of things that I took for granted. I think most of us would like things we are naturally good at. We didn't realize how good we were, right? Until
True.
those couples gave me the affirmations,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, well, not okay. One person said it, maybe she's just being polite,
Mhm.
But if multiple said the same thing, that is a data point for me
Mhm.
to draw my chart, right, to see
Yeah.
what is the direction of it. And I think that feedback is extremely important for me, and that makes me realize, okay, that's something I'm good at. And then I start to have more confidence. In the same time, I think it's self-love also means like self-acceptance, but also respect yourself, right?
Mhm.
And know your value. And one thing is going back to Intel, my manager knew I was doing that. He encouraged that. He's like, "She, you're really good at that. Keep
Mm.
going." And I was like, "Okay, I don't
That's
have
a
to
really
hide."
great manager. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "I don't have to hide myself. I can be my authentic self to do what I'm good at even at Intel as a wedding planner." And also eventually, well, in the beginning as a wedding planner, because I just started in the very first client, I did not charge them,
Mm.
and I did it for free. I hated that wedding. I hated it, and because I think when you when I did it for free, they did
Yeah.
not respect me, did not value
Yeah.
me. And then I did not value myself. I resent everything I did, even though I
Mm-hmm.
love it. It's just a very toxic cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And but that wedding helped me learn that I'm not gonna do free wedding anymore. I'm not gonna do cheap wedding anymore because it lowers my value.
Yeah.
In fact, I just keep going, my pricing just keep going up, and I still have people book me. I think once I feel like it's once I know about my self love, self value, and my um and
Self-worth.
set boundaries, self worth,
Yeah.
everything, then I become my authentic self, and I naturally will attract people that appreciate that.
That's right.
And
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I call it the ripple effect.
yes.
That when we finally get aligned to who we are and our
Hmm.
authentic gifts and talents, and we bring that to every, every interaction, that creates a ripple effect, and it automatically attracts, others who align with you.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about, I think a lot of us who work for ourselves and work in these, like solo entrepreneur roles, uh, especially if it's, kind of a heart centered business, money in the idea of charging for our services, like a lot of people are uncomfortable with that, right? They get
Hmm.
uncomfortable with, oh, how much can I charge, and I don't want to charge too much. And but I heard, I attended a class on heart-centered sales, and the woman who was leading it actually said something that I'll like, it stuck with me. She said, if you can think about it this way, money is God in action. So if, you know, when you have a service that somebody needs, and you exchange money for that service, that is your gifts, that God gave you. That is that in action, and that is, validation that you are on the right path and all of the good things. So, I think it's about reframing our relationship with money and how we feel about that, and everybody has different, their different feelings about that. But I love that you came to that conclusion for yourself, and it's good that you did that straight out of the gate so you could get
Yes.
that lesson under your belt and move on.
Yes. Yes. And I
Yeah.
think it's so the part when you mention about like also self-acceptance and self-love, self-discovery, it helps me for
Hmm.
self-discovery. Now that I know I'm so good at, and it got affirmed, the positive feedback, right? Everybody's telling me good at, and it really gave me that strength. It's like, okay, this is a path I want to do it.
Hmm.
And but my past life have given me that strength.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And also I also get to the point where if I don't do it, I was miserable.
Mhm.
Like my brain, my head is just on event planning, wedding planning. I was also doing modeling. I think it was just like everything. Just if I don't do the things that truly makes me happy,
Mhm.
I was miserable. Like
Yeah.
my whole being is like my body is like, no, you're not doing what you're doing. So I think it's that self discovery and then self acceptance and really be brave at facing your authentic self and accept it. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
So how did you find the courage to leave your six-figure job and kind of branch out on your own? Because that I am someone who's done the same, so I know how hard that is. Um, and especially in the beginning as you're building your business, it's a bit of a roller coaster.
Yes, yes, yes,
um,
yes, yes.
so how did you come to that for yourself? Was there like a particular event that happened, or just you woke up one day and you thought, okay, I'm done. I'm done doing this other thing that I feel miserable at.
Yeah, actually there are several things. A year ago, actually more than a year ago, I have a conflict with a coworker.
Mm,
It was very petty in
mm,
a way
yeah.
because it was he made a tiny mistake that he did something we did not even ask him to do. He just decided to do it, but he make it wrong. When he
Mm,
make it wrong is when and it's not important, but he make it wrong cause a lot of um inconvenience later on. So I asked
mhm,
him to reverse it. And somehow he took it as me attacking him, calling him incompetent, not good
mm,
enough, and like the whole everything. He was screaming at me for 4 hours. To me, it's like a ego. ego
Wow.
issue. Like I think he did not like to be
There's
told by
some
a woman that he's not good, an Asian woman. Because so it got
yeah.
really big, and I told my manager, and I literally just forward him the email. I was like, "This is what I wrote." I was like, "There's nothing wrong in the email." I was like, "I don't know how he took it from being, So that create a lot of that. I was like, I don't like it, and also at this point, I changed a different manager.
Mm,
The manager is different from my previous one. He's just a very good, nice person, but he's not strong enough to fight for me, advocate
mm,
for me. And so that's when I realized, okay, he did not fight for me. I didn't feel being appreciated to the level I
mhm,
deserved. So I
mhm.
told him, like,
That was your
I was
breaking point.
that was my breaking point. I was looking for a job. He was trying to compensate, trying to make it out. He met with me multiple times a week, trying to change my mind. I was like, no. Interestingly, I couldn't find any job. I didn't know. That was the first time I sent out resume. So in my history, I have always just sent out one resume. I got a job. Has always been like that. Last year was the first time I had probably sent out 50 resumes.
Yeah.
I didn't even got an invitation for job interview.
And do
I
you I'm curious, do you now, because I look back on things like that in my life and I think, okay, that was God or the universe or
yeah.
whatever you believe in telling me that's not the direction you're supposed to go, right?
Yes. I truly believe in rejection is
Mm,
protection. You
mm.
know,
Ooh,
I
say
was
that again. Say that again louder for the people in the back.
rejection is protection.
Mm,
Yeah, I felt depressed because I have to get up, but I could not. And fast forward, August, it was my birthday, like 5 months ago. It was my birthday. I drove to. Actually, I was taking a spa, self love,
mm.
right? I was
Yeah.
body was achy, everything was stressed. I went to a spa, got a massage, came out, and somebody texted me. There is a company wide meeting.
Mm,
Apparently, Intel was laying off people
mhm.
to save costs. They're planning to lay off 15,000 people,
Yeah.
but it comes with waves. And it's like volunteer first or then there'll be an
Mm.
involuntary layoff. Immediately, I saw the text. I was like, "This is my chance. I'm taking it." I was like, "Yay!" The person that texted me is like, "She, can we talk?" I was like stressed out. I was so I was like super excited. And that same night, I went to have dinner with her at 9 p.m. We
Wow.
talked. She was like really stressed out.
Yeah.
Of course, I cannot tell her I was too excited because that's kind of like just not very respectful. But in my head, I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you know.
But
So
that's amazing though.
yeah,
Like you had a resounding hell yes to I'm
yeah,
taking this. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's
It
that's
was
always a good sign.
yeah. So I was the first one that said, well, actually, I kind of like let me calm down first, think a little bit. But I was driving to Redwood City at that time for my birthday vacation. My whole drive there, it was just like quit. I'm leaving. I'm ready. I'm jump.
Mm.
And then I saw a lot of eagle. I probably saw. I'm not kidding. Probably 100 to 200 eagles on my way
On your
to Redwood
drive?
City. On my drive within that five
Wow.
hours to the border of California. I have
Wow.
never seen that many eagle. And then when I saw the eagle in my head, it was like so high. Yeah, so high. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Ah, that's a
So,
great story. That's
yeah. So
amazing.
I went back home immediately. I was the first one to volunteer. Yeah, my
Wow.
manager went panic. My VP panic.
So,
But
and this was
yeah.
not so long ago. So we're talking
Oh.
August of 2024, right?
Yes, I August 2024 I volunteered, but I did not really got approved so I did not leave Intel until September 30th.
Okay.
So it was less than 4 months ago.
Yeah, so you really are like in startup mode in a way. I mean, you already had event business built on the side and you had the modeling stuff that you were doing, but now you're like going full in. So tell us, how's it going? And I know you have a big event coming up that you might want to mention to our listeners.
Yes.
So yeah, where are you today with this journey to self-love and purpose, and how are you finding it since you took the
Yeah.
big leap?
I am of course still figuring out. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things. So when I my volunteer got approved, I went into I actually went to panic mode. I was like,
Mm.
okay, this is real now. This is
Yeah.
happening. And I have to figure out my way fast because the reason I did not take a leave earlier was because I did not have a strong financial saving.
Mm.
Because my family has been pretty much, I'm like an ATM machine pretty much, and I was
Mm.
in hundred thousands of credit card debt even like a few
Mm.
months ago.
Mm.
So I did not have the strength, I did not have the resources, I could not just leave.
Right.
The severance gave me that little nudge, but
Mm.
then still, it's just gonna only enough for 2 or 3 months, right?
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, I better like get going. And there was a couple mentors I met with at Intel. He was like, start going to network right now, even
Yeah.
though it's daytime, because you have to plan. Even though you're still at Intel, you have to plan your next step.
Yeah.
Right? And then so I just went crazy networking, and I met a lot of women. I went to a lot of women to women networking
Mhm.
events, and I started to join chambers or different groups. I was just trying to figure it out who is in my
Yeah.
right crowd, and there are many times I just cry in the networking event because I went, when I'm just like smiling, jumping, but when people start to ask me, I was like, it started to come deep. I was like, oh my god, it is real, it is happening. I don't know what to do. I have no money. I have no family in the country. I have no family. I don't really talk to my family outside of the
Mm.
country. So I'm on my own and my two lovely puppies. Um, so a lot of women start to share, like, Michelle, like yourself,
Yeah.
you have mentioned, you did the same thing. They
Mhm.
share the story. Other women share the story. I was like, why don't we know all this story? Why,
Yeah.
there's not enough opportunity for us to hear stories like that. And I truly passionate about lifting people up. It
Mhm.
can be, that's why in my previous job at Intel is like creating a better work life culture.
Mhm.
Really hard, but I'm passionate about it. And especially very passionate about diversity and women.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I am an event planner. I'm going to create a platform for women to share stories because I strongly believe in storytelling. When we
Mhm.
share stories, we give permission to other people to share,
Yeah.
right? And then together we create that ripple effect, as you mentioned, and it becomes stronger and stronger. Then it is no longer just a conference. It is a community. It is
Mm.
a movement that lifts women up.
Mhm.
And it can be men and women to come to attend this event. And even college students, because I wish I knew all this younger when I was
Right.
younger, right?
Yeah.
So it is a community, is a force, is something bigger. Just by coming, you celebrate your journey and other people's journey. So that's why I'm envisioning. And the first event is on March 8th. It's called Women Who Dare. It's really to focus on sharing that people, the stories, how they get
Mhm.
there. It's not about what we see on their resume. We
Right.
have heard enough of what they do in the company. I want to know how they get there because that is the one that we can connect.
Yeah.
I might not be a VP of a finance company, but how they get there. I have a speaker told me she was adopted and she's a woman. She's Hispanic. Growing up, she was told she was not good enough.
Mm.
She just cannot do that, and now she became a general counselor of big company, and
Mm.
she's also a dean of a university, right?
Wow.
So it's like that part resonate with me. I was like, yeah, I was that little girl. I
Mhm.
was not adopted, but my parents were not there, right? And
Yeah.
growing up, I was told I was not good enough. I'm not a dean, right? But I can resonate her story, right? And obviously, I'm not Hispanic, but story doesn't tell it. It does not discriminate whether what color you are, what culture
That's
you come
right.
from.
Yeah.
It is that energy, that belief that gives you strength and bring people together.
Yeah.
That's why I I have I use my severance, a third, like a good chunk of my severance to do this event because it's gonna be a Venetian. It's people who have done event there is know it's beautiful. but
Mm.
it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not cheap.
No, I mean, putting on
Mm,
conferences and events are not cheap, but just
yeah,
especially these days, eggs are
yeah,
$12.
yeah, yeah. I think the minimum right now I'm looking at is $8,000 minimum
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
food and drinks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think it's so incredibly brave of you, and I love that you found that inner strength and conviction to do that for yourself. And I'm just super excited to watch your businesses grow and watch you grow. I'm a cheerleader from the sidelines,
Thank you.
and really appreciate you sharing so vulnerably today about your story. And I think what's incredible about hearing other stories and storytelling, because I'm a big believer in that as well, which is why I started this podcast, is that a lot of times we only see the nice fancy shiny things on the outside. We see the
Mhm.
beautiful pictures on Instagram, and we see all the great events you're going to, or all the events you're organizing or modeling for, and people don't necessarily know the struggles and the hardships and the lonely nights, the tears that we all have shed, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to keep it real and like share that this wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight, but you do have the strength in you to do it. And when you find alignment and you find your purpose and you find self-love, nothing can stop you.
Yeah. In fact, I met with I'm obviously still looking for a sponsor for the event, and I was talking to one of the prospective
Mhm.
sponsors. She was telling me like, "Why are you doing it now? It's so rushed. People take a year to figure it out to
Mm.
plan that." If you think about when the timing of me doing it is, I really just booked the venue end of October, and then there's November's Thanksgiving, December, pretty
Yeah.
much it is a whole holiday season. um, it's very stressful because it's like, yeah, but I was believing in, yeah, I can wait for a year,
Mhm.
or I can really do it that way. I can really make an impact now instead of
Yeah.
waiting. And I believe in it. And I believe that when I start to reach out, people who resonate, align with
Mhm.
my vision will come to help.
They
Um,
will.
yeah, and that also brings me another self love that I want to touch on. Is really control your narrative, control of your
Mm.
story, control of know why you're doing certain thing,
Mhm.
and really believe in it, because you can have probably, I have met so many people that say no. I probably
Mm.
send out 500 emails for ask for sponsorship. I probably just get a handful of, or less than a handful of them. Sometimes you just need that one person to say
Mhm.
yes,
Yep.
right? And then it just lift you up, and you're completely on a different path. So yeah,
Yeah,
really
and
believe in yourself. Mm.
and yeah, that's right. And not be afraid to, make missteps or stumble along the way. I know in the year and a half that I've been working for myself, I definitely look back on some things I did that I was like, oh, I didn't actually need to do that then, or I could have saved some money there, or chose the wrong software and learned that lesson, down the road. But
Mhm.
that's all part of doing it. And that's part of growing and learning, and
Mm.
part of, how your story gets shaped. So I
Yes.
think I think it's really incredible that you said that, because how you kind of shape that and frame that for yourself in your own mind, instead of thinking, oh, I'm a failure, or it didn't work, and oh, it's never going to work, but looking at those mistakes. I don't like calling them failures, but I think fail fast and recover and learn, and that's how great things happen. None of us start out doing new things perfectly.
Yes, I agree.
So.
It's a learning, and I also really believe in, every event is neutral. It's how you treat it. Like
Mhm.
Intel layoff, a lot of people like freaked out. Got talk about negative. Probably a lot more people talk about the negative, how the
Mhm.
company is not doing well, has failed, its leadership and everything. For me, I was like, it's a positive thing. It grows me as a professional. It helps me pay my pretty good living lifestyle until recently. And it also, that layoff gave me that strength to
Mhm.
find a path that I truly desire, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's a positive thing. I just needed that little nudge. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of events like that. You can always look at the negative part, or you can look at the bright side. What am I learning from it?
That's right.
It,
Yeah.
again, rejection is a protection. It
Yeah,
helps you to the path that you are meant to be, including people, right?
that's
People
right.
can say a lot of negative things. Either you give in, I was like, yeah, you're right, I'll give up. I was like, nope, I'm gonna show you that I can do it. Yeah.
And I bet you will. So for everyone out there, please check out She's pages. We will share all of her information in the notes of this podcast. And if you are a woman who dares, or you have women who dare in your life and you want to support them, I encourage you to check out this event that she's organizing. I'm really excited. I plan on being there myself. Um, and yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. Is there any parting words you want to share, or any last comments before we call it quits for this podcast?
I would say be your own woman who dares, be your own authentic self, and believe
Mm.
in yourself. Mhm.
Yeah, great, awesome. Thank you, Shi. Thank you for
All right.
sharing with us today. And yeah, I will look forward to seeing you at the next Women to Women networking event.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle.
All right,
It's a
thank
pleasure and
you.
honor. Mhm.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we look forward to next week's episode and having you back. Thanks again. Bye bye.